Good evening, everybody. This is Taff. This is Taff's Word, and this is the first proper Taff's Word of the pre-season. And no better subject than to talk about the retained list, the further retained list, who we're negotiating contracts with, who we want to keep, who we're going to let go, and then what kind of players we're going to sign afterwards. Personally, I'd love to get as much feedback from you guys as possible with this one. Because it's a big subject to talk about. The squad that we're going to have for next season. What's it going to look like? Are we going to go with another overhaul? Are we going to try and do what we need to do to keep these players, to keep just a bit of normality for once? So I say we dive straight into it. But I want you guys to contribute to this one. I want to engage you. I said a bit creepy end, didn't I? Now, look, just get involved, guys. Just get involved. We're going to go through the list of players that have been let go, first of all. First one, and potentially one of the more disappointing ones, is Liam Angel. A lot of promise around him, a lot of the new Regan Poole talk. Unfortunately, is not amounted to anything in the end. But obviously, anyone who leaves the club, if they've given time to the club, if they've played for us and given their efforts to us, I'm obviously going to wish them well. So, good luck, Liam. Marcus Beauchamp. Apparently had a really good loan spell. I can't think of the club he went to, but he went out and he was having man of the match every game. So someone else who I thought was going to come to the club and hopefully push for a first team spot next year, but obviously not deemed good enough. So good luck, Marcus. Paul Bignot. I mean, it was an inevitable one, this one. Not quite the player we had when he helped get us promoted and won our Player of the Year in our first season back in the conference in 2011. So, no, not quite the same player. Fond memories of him being at the club. He was part of it, of the Great Escape. He didn't play much during the Great Escape, but he was part of our season, and he'd always be part of county folklore. So, good luck, big Knot. I hope you enjoy the rest of your career and you get a club very soon. Jack Compton was always going to happen. There was a lot surrounding attitude. I know, I administrate our Twitter, and I had a bit of a pop at him because Yeovil won a game or something like that, and he was praising Yeovil. I can't remember. I think it was Yeovil. Really happy for Yeovil, and we'd lost that day. It's like, well, you're being happy for Yeovil, but what about the club that you play for? He had a moment saying that he ain't being played. I was like, well, do something about it, mate. Make the manager pick you. But he'll leave with a bit of a bitter taste. Cheerio. Darren Jones retired, great servant of the club. He took a lot of criticism during this season, but he would have tried his very best for us, and that's one thing I can guarantee. So enjoy your retirement, mate. Hopefully you might come into coaching. We may see you again sometime soon. We'll see what the future holds for Darren Jones. Tom Meachin, I think, was a desperate attempt to try and emulate the Connor Washington deal, signing him from the same club with a similar scoring record. Obviously, Edinburgh saw something in Washington. Unfortunately, the same thing wasn't in Tom Meacham. So, good luck, Tom. Didn't work out for you here, but it'll work out for you somewhere. Kieran Parsall was another disappointment. He played so well down in Salisbury, and I honestly thought he was going to play a part in the first team when he came back off loan. It may as well just left him there if you weren't going to play him. I don't understand why we had to bring him back. But he was in and around the first team, but he didn't quite get onto the pitch, unfortunately, and he's not going to get that chance now, which I do feel sorry for him. But the one thing I'm going to point out, I'll probably end up saying this about 3 or 4 times, is that Flinney has mentioned quality over quantity. Now, if you look at every single programme this season, our squad is far greater than the other teams. So we got a lot of players, but they got a lot of quality. So that's been a bit of a difference. So, yeah, I understand that. And if Kevin Parsall didn't make the grade, he's a realistic lad. I had a good chat with him. He foresaw this, to be honest with you. And, I wish him luck. Apparently, he may have some offers in the pipeline, so the very best of luck to you, Kieran. Hope it all goes well for you. Another surprising one was Finley Wood, because he's still young, and he could have stopped and gone out on loan, but oh well, that's just how it goes. I mean, if the money that we get back from these players going means that we're going to sign 2 or 3 top players, that's going to go to the players we've already got, then it could be worth it in the end, So let's move on to the ones who are actually on contract, so we know are definitely going to be here next season. So Aaron Williams, I thought a lot of Aaron Williams, and I really felt he deserved more chances on the pitch than he typically got. But maybe the best is yet to come from him. Maybe next season, you'll play a bit more of a part, and you're banging some goals for us. So I hope to see more from him. Obviously, Josh Labardi, he's going to be the prime person who's going to be captain for next season. I hope he gets it because his captaincy, I think, played a big part in the Great Escape. The leadership on the field. We needed someone who was going to lead on the field, and he's certainly done that. So yeah, Josh Labardi, glad he's staying. Sean Rigg, quality player, absolutely great player. I just think he was knackered towards the end of the season, which is why he didn't figure as much or do as much. But no, great player. I'm glad he's going to be here next year as well. Dan Butler, I think, is definitely someone who came on leaps and bounds through the season. At first, you could see him going forward thinking, yeah, we've got a tidy little player here. But when he was put under pressure and had to do some defensive work, didn't quite stand out as a good left back, possibly a good left winger, but his defending improved throughout, and I think Wayne Hatswell coming on board may have had a lot to do about that. So Dan Butler, with a pre-season under his belt, a bit more tuition from Hatswell, and I think we got a good left back there. Jamie Turley, unfortunately injured for most of the season, did look really good before his injury. Hopefully the injury is completely behind him and we get to see the best of him next year as part of a really good defence. Because if we can sign O'Brien and we got Turley at his best and Scott Bennett, then we got some good defenders there. Moving on, and one of the real success stories of the Great Escape was Mark Randall on the transfer list. Apparently, for personal reasons, wanted to leave the club. Wesley leaves, and all of a sudden, Flinney brings him back, and he was possibly our best player. So him being on contract with Labardi in the same team, I tell you what, we got a really good midfield, really good looking midfield for next season, especially when they're going to be played in the right way with the right tactics. Obviously, Flinney got it spot on. Winning 7 games in 12, you've got to have got it right. So, we've got a good spine of a team there that's ready to start next season. We move on to the players who we've signed. Owen Evans has signed on, so that adds to that, great midfield. Owen Evans, what a player he's turned into, and with a pre-season under his belt, God knows what we're gonna see from him next year. He could be one of the stars of the league next year, potentially, I believe. So good that we kept him on. Really, really good. David Pipe. Oh, funny enough, Tom Owen Evans has just replied to a Facebook message of mine. Oh, nice one, Tom. Sorry for the late reply. I think he's out in San Francisco at the moment, so I wouldn't expect him to reply to me while he's out there. Fair play to him. Yeah, David Pipe. Now, the reason I mention him in the signed is the rumour mill is running at the moment, and apparently Pipey has signed a contract with us for a year. It's nothing confirmed yet, but the rumour mill is running, and Pipey is a big cog in that turning of the mill. So let's see. I certainly wouldn't object. What an absolute hero Pipey was during the Great Escape. That was possibly one of the things Wesley did get right, is bringing Pipe back, because he put a bit of heart and soul into that team. And you can imagine how you feel around you when when you got someone like David Pipe backing you up. You're going to feel invincible. So he's going to be indispensable next season. Even if he doesn't play as often, he's still going to be one of them characters you want to have around. So let's move on now. Obviously, Pipe, we don't know, but he's technically not part of our squad. He's an Eastleigh player until the end of his contract. I know he's set for release. Players who are in limbo is what I'm going to call it. Joe Day and Leonard John Lewis are the two. I'm going to mention them together because they're the two highest paid players allegedly at the club. paid a hell of a lot more than anybody else. So is it a position where they're going to need to take a pay cut to stay? Because I'd imagine if we offer them the same amount of money, they'd stop on anyway. But we don't know that. But then will they need to take a pay cut so we can distribute the funds around the squad? Just remember something Flinney said: quality over quantity. And two of the big players that successful teams in League Two tend to have a good striker and a good goalie. And they fall into that category. Both of them do. Joe Day is a good goalie. John Lewis is a good striker. So you want people who are going to win you games. People who are going to win you games like striker scoring you goals. People who are going to save you games. Goalkeepers making saves. Now Joe Day has saved us an awful lot, and with a better defence in front of him, he's a much more confident goalkeeper, which means that you're going to get better performances from him. So quality over quantity. But that mean that we'll offer them the same money to stay? Time will tell. But if it does mean that we got to try and convince them to take a pay cut so we can afford to keep some of these other players, I think it's going to be worth having that conversation with them. Demetriou, we got to pull everything out the back to keep that guy. I mean, what an absolute player he is. What a peach of a left foot. What a great defender. And like I say, his left foot is valuable, and it will be valuable next season. So we keep Demetriou, and that will be one of the bigger signings that we'll make, is keeping him on. Bird. I'm in two minds about Bird. Now remember, I was in two minds about Scott Bowden back last season, and I was kind of glad that we didn't keep him. But to be honest, at some points during last season, I'd kill to have him there just because he knew how to find the net. Bird, on the other hand, doesn't find the net often enough for me, and doesn't do enough in the build-up play, unfortunately. So I wouldn't be too disappointed to see Bird move on. But at the end of the day, I mean, if Bird moving on means that we can afford to keep John Lewis if he wants to keep the same salary, will that be worth it? Don't know. Is there more to come from Bird? Possibly. On a better pitch, maybe. But he's not a good pitch player. He was signed because he's good in the air. Was he as good in the air as we thought he was going to be? Arguably. But still, I think that there could well be better out there available. So it wouldn't disappoint me if we didn't keep Bird. O'Brien, the hero, the real promising Irish defender who was playing games when he was 16, 17 for Derby, and then all of a sudden he's playing for little old Newport County. Is he too good for us? Yeah, arguably he's too good for us. But will he want to stay with us? I think he may. I think he may want to stay with us. Because if you've read the article that was going out about him, he's struggled to find a club that'll give him the opportunities to play week in, week out. Signs for us, and he's guaranteed that. So give us a season. Let's see how far we can push with someone like him in the squad, and we can move on at the end of that season. Then if he's attracted enough interest from teams above, sign on a 2-year contract. We get a fee for him. Then you never know. You never know. So yeah, I really hope we sign O'Brien. That'll be another big one if we can keep him. Demetriou and O'Brien, of all the limbo players, they'll be the two key signings to make. So I hope they're the ones we're focusing more attention on. Craig Reid, love the guy, absolutely love the guy. Really nice bloke. Done the business for us when we needed him to in 2010 and into 2011. Not the same player. Not good enough for this level now, unfortunately. So I think we'll probably end up seeing the back of Craig Reid. But like I said about Big Knot, we got fond memories of having him at the club. So obviously we're going to hope him all the best. So I don't know. I mean, some people might fancy keeping him. Me personally, I think his best days are behind him, and he's certainly not a Football League striker anymore. I got a feeling a team like Gloucester would suit him. Well, actually, he went to Gloucester and didn't actually get in the team there. So no, I hope obviously when he's done a lot of training with us, that's set him up to get a good club next year. So and he starts scoring goals again. Marlon Jackson, look, I like Marlon Jackson because he does try, but I just don't think this is his level. Maybe conference south/north. I like him. He's like I said, he's tried for us this season. So I really hope he ends up doing well. but I can't see us keeping him, to be honest, unless there's a new level of him that Flinney have seen in him, and we might see that next season. But like I say, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Personally, I wouldn't be disappointed if he went. Then the same goes for Myrie Williams. Just didn't do enough. Didn't seem as interested as he should be. So no, I actually earmarked him as one of our potential star players at the beginning of last season, and unfortunately, the guy proved me wrong on that. So, like I say, I wouldn't be disappointed if he went, but if he stays on, it might be because Flinney sees something in him, and in Flinney we trust, of course. So yeah, we'll see about him as well. Jazzy Barn and Bob, I definitely want to keep him. I think in a similar situation to Butler, his defending work wasn't good, but going forward he was great. I think his defensive work has improved. He didn't get in the team as much, but when he got Pipey there, he wasn't going to, was he? But I certainly like to see him tested out as a winger. I mean, with Alex Samuel moving to Stevenage, that was a disappointment. I'm going to come back to that one. But I certainly see Jazzy as the kind of player that could play on that right wing, or like an inside forward type of position. I mean, if you look at it, Gareth Bale started off as a left back, and then became one of the greatest attacking midfielders / centre forwards in world football. So I'm not saying Jazzy Barn and Bob is going to be one of the best players in world football, not by any stretch of the imagination, but because he's that good at going forward, he's shown he can dribble and he can find the net. Why not try him, mate, up in there? Give him a pre-season, play him up there in a few friendlies just to see what he does. And if you think you've got a good forward or inside forward out of him, there you go, happy days. You know, I mean, if we're signing Pipey, we've already got a right back. So yeah, Jazzy Barn and Bob, winger, inside forward. You never know. Come to the final player now, and that's Ben Tozer. And that's the one I was going to focus a little bit on. Does he want to be at this club? I don't know. Was Wesley an issue? More than likely. Tozer is a quality player, and if his head is screwed on and he's thinking like he wants to be part of Newport County, he wants to play for us and give his all to us, I would keep him. But you wouldn't be surprised if we just thought, look, you turn your back on us to piss off, But if he comes back and say, look, I was wrong, I want to be a part of this club, I want to take this club forward with you, I would give him that a second chance. That's just me. Because if you've got a good Tozer in the midfield with Labardi and Randall, Owen Evans, well, we'll have one of the best centre midfield, options in the league, with them four. So would it be worth it? I think it would. So there we go. So moving on then, we've gone through the players who are actually part of the club. What kind of players are we going to want to sign? Now, if we get the right signings of the players that are in the hat with us at the moment, then we're not going to need much, I do think we're going to need a striker that's going to score 20 goals a season. We need to find that kind of player. I know Ruben Reid was the one we had highlighted, and we missed out on him when he went to Exeter. But no, there are going to be others out there. They're going to be League One strikers who can score goals in League Two, who will be let go. There'll be fringe players from the Championship. Young players from the Premiership. There's going to be players out there. The only thing, we're going to need money. Money to pay them. I think we've let some players go. I think there's a few more to go. Look, at the end of the day, like I said, we've got the good spine of a squad there already. With 8 of them signed up, we keep the main ones. We got to plug the gaps in then. Try not to do it too expensively, but we need to get that one striker that's going to score us good goals throughout the season on a regular basis. A lot of League Two's teams are based around a good striker. They haven't spent much on the rest of their team. They've just got that striker that they know are going to score a good amount of goals. Like Crawley, James Collins, and what's his name? Is it Dagnall at Crewe? They've got a striker that's going to score them goals throughout the season, and that eventually is going to win them enough games to keep them up. So the thing is that the way we want to be looking? No. But does it mean that we can't go out and find that striker anyway and keep a good team around them? Why not? I mean, look at Accrington. They do it on a cheap budget. I mean, Morecambe have had a decent squad on a cheap budget, so I don't see any reason why not. No, absolutely none at all. Say, look, no, guys, taking 20 minutes of your time already. Like I say, the defence could be sorted out if we make the right signings. With the players that we got, the midfield is already sorted out. I think it's the forward line mainly, and replacing Joe Day if we have to. So we'll see what it brings over the summer. Certainly, I believe between Flynn, Lenny Lawrence, and Wayne Hatswell, they will put a squad together that's going to make sure we don't have to suffer another relegation fight. I truly believe in that. So let's see how it goes. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and as always, up the county.